Episode 7. All right.
That's a
Well,
nice
welcome
one.
back. Welcome back to episode 7 on the MVP Real Estate Podcast. We have Sandra Cooze here, who is going to tell us a little bit about what she does in the. I'm going to direct it towards the real estate world, but I know what you do in the field that you're in extends way broader than that. So, because you have such a unique market, I want to know where your background and how that took you to where you're in. I'm not spilling the beans on what you do yet. I'm gonna let you do that one.
Oh boy. Thank you so much for having me. Well, where should I start? I am an intuitive trauma release coach. And as that, I help people release their trauma, but also release other things that keep them stuck, like energy in their home. Because everything basically is energy. Our thoughts, our words, our emotions is all energy. And the residue always stays behind in a home. And it's very easy to see when you have to focus on the energy. Let's say when you're cleaning your home, and even though it's spotless, it still feels dirty. That means that it's a point where you need to look a little deeper on the energy of your home and cleanse it. And this can have a very great impact on your emotional health inside your home. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. I think explaining what I do really would take too long.
Yeah, no. And I think it's fascinating because obviously the home that I'm in right now was it was in rough shape when we bought it. So I've actually had someone come through my house 3 times already, right after demo, and then as we were building, and then when it was finished, to come through and do a cleansing. Because what she found was, I would say, eye-opening, and she was finding things that about the last owners that I knew, because I've seen them, that she was not even close to or knew of, and she was pulling out just details of them that I knew, and I was like, this is crazy. But I know it's true, and I love it. So what got you into this field?
It was the whole journey, really. I mean, I'm a trauma survivor myself. A lot has happened. I don't really want to go into the story about all of this because that's not the platform for it.
Yeah.
But my healing journey was very spiritual. So I learned a lot about spirituality, about energy. And the more I learned, the more I opened up to all the different things that encompass energy. And when I became a Reiki master, I learned about cleansing the home and balancing the home. And I was so fascinated with this that I just spun it further and created my own cleansing ritual. And it's pretty amazing how your home changes when you cleanse it. I mean, I do it like every 6 months in my own home. And now that we're all stuck at home, my husband's working from home and my son was virtual school and everybody was home, drove me crazy. But yeah, every time I cleansed the home, I noticed how the walls suddenly became brighter. Just because I cleared off all the energy. I didn't notice that until I cleansed it.
Yeah.
And the energy shifted, the house was brighter, and we all were happier.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And the guest we had on previously that did this, she obviously does Reiki sessions. I've gone in and done Reiki with her specifically. And then she also has new trainees come in and they can go read houses. But she was talking about in like the general, I'll call it the general population, when you're moving into the new home, you're taking on the old owner's energy. So it's always good to go in and clear it. And hopefully you can get it done in one session, but depending on size and severity, I guess you'd say, of what went on in the past, you're moving into somebody else's energy. So it's always good to hit the reset button like you do every 6 months on your own home. So do you find yourself doing more person, or do you do more in-home, like on the actual brick or wood frame home? Do you do more work on person or home?
It's case by case.
Okay.
When when I talk with my clients and we talk about the home, sometimes the conversation goes that way, then yeah, we focus more on the home and how the home feels. If they're like, let's say if they're in a relationship and they constantly have arguments, then I ask them, when did you cleanse your home last? You know?
You probably don't get a lot of people that say like, oh, 6 months ago.
Yep, no, I don't. So they usually for them, like they look at me just like I threw a rock at them or something. Yes, so no. And so we talk about this, and either I go there by myself if I'm close, if not, I give them specific instructions. And yeah, they say it's gotten so much calmer and more relaxed, and we don't fight as often, and they're just in awe over what a difference this makes. Or just cleaning with vinegar, because vinegar is also energy cleansing. So I use vinegar for almost everything.
I had no idea about that. That's really cool. I'm going to start doing that.
Yep, vinegar and water. All you need for windows are sparkly clean and the energy is balanced.
Vinegar and water.
Yeah.
And regular white vinegar, not the apple cider vinegar.
Yes, regular white vinegar, the cheap one. I have a big jug at home and I only use it for cleaning. I rarely use it for cooking.
Easter eggs. Easter eggs.
There would be one occasion where I would use it, yes. But other than that, just cleaning.
That's crazy. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, I had no idea. So all the listeners, go out and get your vinegar.
Yeah.
If that's a simple step, that's, I mean, at least a good
start. The cheapest one.
Yeah. And obviously don't give out all your secrets, but are there other things like that that are simple? Tell me, what market are you in? Let's start there.
I'm in
all over? Or I'm saying like specific geographical.
Well, I am in Canada. So in Ontario.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but I work worldwide.
Yeah.
Over Zoom. Most of my clients are over Zoom.
There's stuff that you can do yourself. As you're educating them, I could go out and I could do that to my home.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
awesome. That's awesome. And are you picking up clients? Are you international?
Yes.
You're awesome. That's very cool.
I love music. It's great.
Are you finding different energies or different things that you're seeing specific to different regions, or is it all, it can happen anywhere?
Well, both.
Okay.
I mean, when it comes to energy in the home, we have to think of many different aspects. There's people who love antiques. Antiques come with their own energy, so you have to cleanse them. Hand-me-downs come with their own energy. Gifts that we receive come with their own energy. And gifts have their own reaction on us, because when we get gifts that we don't really need, we hold on to them because we think we have to. So we start to resent them because they're just taking up space and we have no use for them, but we feel obligated to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I got over that. Everything I don't need, I just regift.
Yes.
So this is something we have to get over. Like really, regifting is totally fine, because look at it from an energetic point that we received something that we have no use for, but we know exactly who may need it. So then we're just the middleman to the person who actually needs it. And everything else is just the ego. So there really is a lot of things in the home that we have to take care of, like clutter, for example. Clutter makes people stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
So declutter is very, we had 2 years to
love
declutter
that.
the home.
I love the declutter.
Yeah.
We just bought a new bed and there was posts, and you can either do like the long post or the short post. We elected to do the long post. We had the short post sitting there for a month and a half, because we're like, well, we don't know if we don't like it and we're going to switch it up. And I looked over and I was like, we're doing it. We've become like the adults that just hoard stuff because we don't know when we're going to use it down the road. We just need to get rid of it. If we need them, we'll just go get them. But the chances, we can't even do touch-up paint that we need to do. Why would we be adjusting other things?
Right.
We're just not going to get to it. But it's hard for like me, especially, to say like, okay, I could use it eventually, but on the other side of it, what are the chances I do? Very slim.
Right.
So just like get rid of the clutter.
Here's the thing: this mentality of we may be able to use it later comes from our ancestors. For the wartime, where you used everything until it was broken and then you repurposed it. You never threw anything away.
Yeah.
That's where this is coming from, which makes a lot of sense if you don't have much,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but now it's something that we have to change. I mean, yes, we can bring it to Goodwill. We can pass it on to someone else, donate it, sell it. Someone else can use it for whatever purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can shift our mindset to this, it's not as so hard to let it go because we know it still has a purpose for someone else rather than becoming garbage.
Yeah.
You guys are making me want to like pause this and go and start cleaning out my closet over there. Like,
Sorry, didn't want to give you more work.
You just see Natasha's go off screen. See you guys.
yeah,
Or hearing pots and pans banging around the
exactly.
kitchen.
Exactly. Well, I can't right now because my dog is right here. And
Yeah.
like, it's like, pet me, mom, pet me. So.
Oh, I was also thinking, obviously you're talking about bringing things in, having their own energy. And I see the plant right behind you. Do you see things, or do you like try to get people to bring certain items in, like living plants? Because I know that was one thing that the lady had talked to me about, is bring plants in, and that energy is helpful. Is that
Yes.
something that, okay.
Yes,
I like
plants
the
are
plant.
helpful because they cleanse the air and they cleanse the energy at the same time.
Yeah.
And they make the home pretty. I mean, a home where there's no plants, it seems so empty no matter how much stuff is in it.
My husband will kill them. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, they can
So
be plastic if it has to be. I
Okay.
mean, but a spider plant, usually you can't kill a spider plant.
We had an air plant for a while, and that one lasted a couple of years until it didn't anymore.
An air plant.
Yeah, like you just have to like water them like once a month or something. It was crazy.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm not good with plants. I leave that up to Ari. But now she's got this hanging, I don't know what it's called, but it's a vine, and it's like stretching across our kitchen. I feel like it's like 10 feet long. It's super cool, and she's teaching me about it, and it's amazing how like intuitive they are when you actually get to see them. Like she's talking about how the leaves will curl when this is lacking in the plant, or this color will come out when it's watered, and like I just saw it as green and it looks living. So she's upping my game. I'm starting to get a green thumb a little bit.
You should go outside right before the rain and look at the trees. Some of the leaves from the trees turn upside down when it starts to rain.
Oh, I gotcha. We've got a lot around here. And that was one of the cool things. I'm right on a river, so like the water was good. A lot of trees, and I put way more windows in the house. So like all of those things were led by this lady that me and Natasha both know had on the show earlier on in season 1. But those were all 3 things. She's like, it's super heavy in the house right now. So some things you can do as you're building is, I think she said windows, she liked the river, and then plants. But she came back a couple times because she said that some of the energy was stuck in this one little portion in the basement. So it was like, I was kind of worried, like, do I need to sell this house? She's like, no, we'll get it worked out. So obviously you probably can't give a lot of details. Have you been in some of those really, really hard, stubborn energy cases? And
oh yeah,
walk me through kind of your process on that one.
Well, it was a few years ago. I went and did a house cleansing for one of my friends, and she actually had a spirit in the house. And it was the mother of an ex-boyfriend who was attached to one of the chairs that she still had from her ex-boyfriend.
Whoa.
So that's why I say cleanse the stuff that comes into your house. You don't know what you invite in. And she didn't want to leave, that spirit. And so as I did the house cleanse, when I came in, the walls looked like a weird, dirty mustard. I was like, why would you pick this wall color? You know, it's like so uninviting. But anyways, I did my house cleansing protocol, but the spirit didn't want to leave. So what I do then, I work with the archangels. So I called an Archangel Raphael, which is my favorite go-to, and asked him for help. And the beautiful thing was I actually saw him, and it was really amazing. It was beautiful.
You saw
He
the
was
archangel, or you saw the spirit?
in my mind.
Oh, okay.
Both. I see spirits in my mind,
Okay.
but the archangel I also saw in my mind, and it was amazing. He was tall and he had huge wings, and he was embracing the spirit, and the spirit was gray. And usually when spirits are negative, upset, they're gray because the energy is low. And he embraced it with her huge wings, and all the gray fell off of the spirit. And in that moment, my friend broke out in tears and says, I feel I have to say I'm sorry. So
Well,
that was a very
chills everywhere.
yes, I get goosebumps every time I think about this. This was beautiful. And so the spirit left, and then the walls that were a beautiful light brown. That didn't look like this when I came in the house. So there was so much negative energy from that spirit, didn't want to cross over.
Wow.
Whoa. So when you walked into that certain house, could you pick out that it was attached to an item, and you had to find the item?
Not at first.
Okay.
It's like, as I do my work with the cleansing, and the spirit kept following me around and tried to scare me and things like that. But yeah, the more I cleansed the home, the more I felt where it was coming from.
Really?
So I know it sounds a little out there, and I apologize, but
No,
this really
maybe
happened.
to some viewers, obviously, like if this is the first time they're hearing about this, like, yes, it seems very like out there. But
This is
I
our
mean,
third, fourth time hearing about similar things to this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I love it.
I love it. Like as soon as I met, and her name is Bobby here in our hometown. As soon as I got linked up with her, I was like, can you please come in all of my rentals? I'm doing demos. Can you come in demos? And she's like, I've been looking for somebody because I've got classmates coming through and it'd be a great training thing. And I was like, here are my keys. Go through them whenever you want. Because I love this stuff. The whole philosophy of the world being energy is something that I've kind of held true since maybe my college days. I still want to learn to read auras because I want to see people's colors. I think that that's a superpower that people can do if they train themselves to pick up on it.
Yeah, just
Are you gonna read mine first, Marcus, so you can see what you're working with?
You're first on my list. No, I was driving in a car in college, and someone in the back seat had I'll call it a Freudian slip kind of thing, where they're like, "Oh, that's a purple. That's okay." And I was like, "The purple? What?" And she was like, "What?" I didn't say that out loud, did I? And I was like, "Yep. You're gonna have to explain how this person's a purple." And she went into like how she could see auras, and after that, I was like, "I want to know this." So no, it doesn't seem strange. I'm fascinated. I could keep you on and ask you millions more questions of it.
Please do.
Because even since we've had the clearing, we haven't had one. It's been about maybe a year and a couple months since the last clearing, and we were done doing our majority of building. We had to come back in to do our finishing work, and Foreman was downstairs listening to a song, and the lyrics were like, it was either turn the lights on or turn the lights off. And as soon as it was repeated, so turn the lights on, and all of a sudden the lights in the basement went off. All of them for about 20 seconds. And then they flicker, and then go on. So he like ran upstairs and he's like, I'm out, I'm done down here.
I bet.
And he went back down and he turned the song on again to see if anything happened, and nothing happened, thankfully. But right away I was on the phone with Bobby and I was like, hey, something happened in the basement. So I think it is time for her to come back in and do that. Or we can get some tips from you offline, obviously, because I know it's going to be specific to the home and to the person, the situation.
Right.
Definitely something that we need to look at for that one.
Right. Well, if something like this happens, there is something that I do. It's called a property realignment, which is done through the Akashic Records. I don't know if I've heard of those.
No, I haven't.
Okay. The Akashic Records are like the library of anything spiritual.
Okay.
So every soul has their own room, and every property has its own place where you can go in and find things out and clear things from an energetic level. And when I clear a home, let's see, when there's a lot of spiritual activity, then a home cleansing alone is not enough. Simply because some spirits are just stuck to the house, or something else is going on, or there could be portals that are open where spirits just come and go that need to be closed. And this can be very, I wouldn't say dangerous, but it may not be, you may not be able to really close those because there's more work that needs to be done. And so going through the Akashic Records, it's simple because you look at what's there, and in the Akashic Records, you just close them. And then the house is cleansed, all the spirits are where they're supposed to go, and there's no portals, and the energy is clear. That's another way of cleansing a home, a very spiritual one.
Okay. And with that, that's something that would need to be done by you. That's not something like a homeowner could.
No, it's something I do at home.
Okay.
And it's done, it doesn't matter where I am in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Oh, I love this.
Is that something that you worked with someone to develop and train and get in alignment
Yes,
with?
I did.
Okay. Where was that schooling at? Is that like a quote unquote like school? Everybody thinks of like universities and all that stuff. Was it one of those, or is it?
It was an online course.
Okay.
It's called, the actual online course is Soul Realignment.
Okay.
And Property Realignment is a part of it. And I've done so many, and I've heard so many stories from the before and after. It's amazing how powerful this actually is.
Yeah. And do spirits stay primarily like in the home, or could it be like something in the property, mean like the yard, or a tree that's in the yard, or something like that?
It can be both.
Okay.
It depends whether the spirits are in the home, attracted to the home for some reason, if there's portals in the home, or if it's on the property. It depends what the property used to be. If your home stands on an ancient burial ground, then the spirits are going to be all over, of course.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it could be something on a property or something in the home. Or it could be that it came with a person and just stayed behind.
Yeah.
So
we've had one incident at the flip we're doing now. And it was right around when we were clearing out the basement. He had put some of his, they weren't valuable in terms of dollar amount, but you could tell what he had put up there was valuable to him. And obviously through the demo, we pulled the ceiling and everything dropped out. Maybe a month later, one of the guys was walking past, it was right above a doorway. And right when he got through the doorway, felt like a tap on his shoulder. In that exact spot where all was. And I just got chills with it. I wasn't there that day. But yeah, that was, he told me that night, and I was like, oh, maybe we should do something about that.
But we can't forget that in the very essence, spirits are just souls that are stuck here.
Yeah.
So they don't mean to be bad or mean. Even poltergeists, you know, not Hollywood poltergeists, of course, but they've just been here so long that they learned how to communicate. But in essence, they're only souls that are stuck.
Yeah.
And most of them want help. Most of them are afraid to cross over because they're afraid that they will go to hell because they did something bad. So they're afraid of judgment.
Yeah.
But there is no judgment. Sorry, I said it. There's only love when you go through the light. So, and that's why most of them are stuck or afraid to move on or feel they have unfinished business. I had a spirit once come to my home, knocking on walls, who couldn't
followed you home.
He felt my energy. I was just in a spiritual growth, up leveling, and he was drawn to this energy and said, "Hey, someone who can help me." Yes,
really?
knocking on walls. I didn't like that either.
No.
But yeah, and in essence, he couldn't cross over because his wife, who was still alive, didn't let him go. He couldn't. There was this strong bond, and he couldn't. I mean, I opened the portal for him to go through. I saw his dog come out to play with him, but he couldn't go. So I basically had to detach him from his wife so that he could move on. So there's always a story when spirits come to you. There's always a reason.
And you just learn the language of the spirits, basically, so you could communicate with them?
No, it's really just like images in my mind that I see. So it's not really talking, it's really it's just what I see. So I didn't really talk, but he didn't stop knocking, so I guess I had to do something about it.
Now, is this knocking that you can audibly hear? Is it
It's
something
real
that
knocking on the wall.
really?
My son said whenever he went down to the basement, there's something knocking whenever I go down to the basement. And I
So,
just thought, oh no.
so do you
It's
think
real knocking.
you think he's like honed in on the intuition that you have too?
I don't know yet, but he's very curious.
Because like my maternal side of the family, we're very like we can kind of see things before they happen. So like even I can do that. But my mom, my aunt, and all three of us kind of can not predict the future, but we can like have really strong feelings about things that are going to happen. So I just thought it was curious as like it went down our maternal side. So I'd be curious to find out in 5 years, you know, like what's happening with your son.
Well, from what I've heard, usually those gifts come out when they become teenagers. Because all the body changes and the hormones and everything, it has something to do with that. So we will see. I mean, my son is 8.
Yeah.
Well, he always says he has healing hands. So whenever I have a headache or so, he brings me his stuffy and puts his hands on my head and says, okay, now you feel better in an hour.
I love it. That's so cute.
Yeah, so I would think he probably has something from me.
Yeah.
He's got Reiki in his future then.
Yeah, definitely.
With Reiki, it was the most odd feeling where she was up by my head and her hands were like burning. But then she'd go to my feet and it was like chills. My feet were so cold. And she was like, everything is blocked to your feet. So I had like these basically like rubbing therapy. Like I had to rub my feet in a certain way. What else did I have to do? It was like 2 or 3 things. And I had to like massage my scalp to like open up my
Crown chakra?
Yes, that's what it is. Because you have 5 chakras,
7.
right? 7. I knew it was an odd number. See, this is why we bring experts on, so that I don't give people wrong information. So yeah, she said that a couple were like completely blocked, which is why it was cold, I believe. In going in, I was a believer in the energy, but I wasn't sure how much I would feel it. Because everybody has like that little bit of like, yeah, it's for everybody but me. It's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to get it. It works on other people, but and I'm guilty. I had the same thing. Like I believed it and I was like, this is true, but it's not going to work for me. And then I laid on the table and it was such a cool feeling. My body felt like it was vibrating for like 2 days afterwards. Like I wasn't tremoring, but inside it felt like it was vibrating. And then it like slowly wore off. And she's like, now it's time to come back. And I was like, okay. So it works. If you're listening, it works. Try it.
And that feeling of this is not for me, but for everybody else, it's just the fear of the unknown.
Yes. Yep.
You don't have to believe in Reiki or energy. All you have to do is give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's all, nothing more.
Yeah. And for people that are against it, I would say, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You go in for Reiki and you're like, oh, I didn't feel anything. I mean, you did, but you just don't want to accept it. Nothing bad is going to happen.
Or you don't
Yes,
know.
the whole worldview could be distraught.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing that can happen. That's the
I
biggest
guess that
fear
is
that
true.
the worldview is changing.
I guess you have to go in with the open mind. Go in with
Yes.
the positivity, and then hopefully nothing bad happens. But
Right.
I had full trust in the person that I went to. I had full trust that they were going to be doing the best thing. I was in good hands. It's like when you go to a doctor. Like bad things can happen, you go to the doctor, but if you put full trust in your doctor and you follow it, I mean, things should go upwards. That's the reason you're doing it. Yeah, so the world, fascinating to me. Are there certain things that you can kind of give tips and tricks for people that just move into a house? Obviously the vinegar, cleaning with vinegar. obviously probably right off the bat, probably a good thing to do to all of the things in the home. As they're bringing their old stuff in, is that a big problem area of transferring energy? Like two energies pretty much colliding. You've got your house energy, you've got your new stuff energy. And I apologize if these are very weird questions.
No, I think they're very interesting questions. I think one thing I always tell my clients is when you move out, cleanse your home so that it feels neutral. Even when you have house showings, cleanse your home so that your energy is gone and the person who's looking at the house can better envision themselves in there. Because when we come into a house that feels completely negative, we don't even want to go in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if we just had an argument with our partner, the next day we have a showing, they can pick up on that if they're sensitive enough. But yeah, I think moving into a home to do the quick walkthrough with a smudge stick, you know, that sage, the smudging.
Yeah.
Sage. Rule number one, you have to open the windows because the sage is carrying out the energy, but it has to get out somehow.
Okay.
Open the windows and the doors and just smudge every room with the smoke, go through every room. And the white sage is cleansing the energy.
So is there a negative to sage? Because there was one instance where she was like, absolutely do not burn sage. And I can't remember what it was, but she said at some point, if it's a certain energy, it can actually like upset them. So I don't know.
I mean,
do you remember that, Natasha?
No.
I don't know. It was something about and it was a joke by me because I'd heard that sage is good for clearing. And I'm trying to recall what she had said, but she said, don't do sage. Like, I know it was a joke, but seriously, don't do it. You have a chance of upsetting whatever could be around. And I was like, I did not know that. I'm glad I didn't. So have you heard of any sage having a detriment or a reverse effect from cleansing?
Well, the only thing that I can tell you is that when there is some negative energy in a home, in that spot, the smell of the sage will reek.
Oh.
So I've had it in my home once in the middle of the living room. In that spot, the sage it was revolting.
Really?
So yeah, and then you just open a window and you smudge it again because the smoke is there to clear the energy, to bring positivity back, to release what is not supposed to be here. And so I've never heard of when not to use sage. But then again, every spiritual practitioner is different. We all have our own teachings and no one is right or wrong. It's just our different perspective and how we look at it. So I have never heard of that, but it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah, and I might be mistaken. I can build the house, but I can't clear it. So I listen to people like you and Bobby and other people that I've talked to with their expertise on it. So I might as well be mistaken on that one, but I just know I held off on it until a professional was in on that one.
Okay, yeah. It's always a good idea because you don't know what you're going to find.
Right. Can you tell the difference between either like age or gender, or is that all through the pictures?
It's all through the picture.
It's all through the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, mediums are different. There are ones who see the spirits right in front of them. I'm glad I don't. I think I would freak out, honestly. I'm glad I only see them in my mind. And others hear them talk. And again, others can smell them, like sense that they resonate with. Sometimes I have that out of the blue, I smell lemon. I have no idea why. You know, sitting in the living room and smell lemon. Or one time I smelled tuna. No idea why. So there's always different things on how they communicate. And no, I don't think that when it comes to the soul, I mean, the sex of the soul is not important.
Yeah.
So like when my dad just passed away a couple of months ago, like totally unexpectedly. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I feel like he's right here, like looking over my shoulder for like months. And I was like, I feel like he's right here. And he was like, well, maybe that's because he wasn't ready to leave yet either, Natasha. And I was like, Yeah, maybe. It was a weird feeling. It was comforting. It felt great that I felt like he was still there, but it was odd, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the only time I've ever like felt a spirit, but I felt it very vividly.
Mm-hmm. And it's not uncommon. I mean, of course, I want to make sure that we're okay.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and saying goodbye. And some stay behind and become our spirit guides.
Hopefully he will. He would be great at it.
You'll know. You'll know
Yeah.
if he's still around.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
those are, what is that?
so fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You
No,
can always call him.
I guess I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just never tried. So that will be something that
Give it
I'll
a try.
Yeah.
Usually when I call on my dad and my grandma, they usually don't come in my dreams.
Yeah, I used to always have such vivid dreams. I just am not a vivid dreamer anymore. Like when I was all the way up until I was probably 25, I was a super vivid dreamer. And then after that, it's just kind of dissipated out a little bit.
I don't remember a single dream I've ever had.
Really?
Is that weird? I've nothing.
It's not weird.
And like, I'm waiting for a dream because they sound great, but I've never recalled the dream. And I've never, like, I want to see a spirit. There's a little part of me that wants to and a little part that's terrified if I do. But like, I know they're around because I know energy doesn't just like vanish. So it has to be around. I've just never seen. And I kind of want to,
Right.
but I feel like I'm going to have to get more in tuned with the energy of it to be able to see it. And I've not gotten to that part yet. But like, those are experiences, Natasha, that like, yeah, a little freaky, but that's something special to like feel your dad after.
Really?
So
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Super great. I know my mom's up there just like having fun and like swimming with the dolphins and like doing all that cool stuff. But I think my dad was like, hey, wait, I missed out. What's going on?
I'm glad you can see it this way.
Of course. You have to, you know?
True.
So Sandra, when you take on, I want to go more into like your process and how you work. So, and at the end of the show, we're going to get people your contact information so they can reach out to you. What is your typical, someone either gives you a call or emails, how do you kind of take it? Do you sit and talk to them for a little bit before you get into some deeper things, or is it like kind of how do you take it, or what can they expect if one of our viewers gives you a call about, hey, this is happening, or in my life, or this is what I'm feeling type of thing?
Well, the first thing that people should know who contact me, I don't sugarcoat things. I'm dead honest. So yes, we do talk, and I just first get a feel of what's going on in their lives and their home. You know, so and then we go from there. So I can better assess if it's the home and it needs something like a property realignment, like the big stuff, the big guns,
Yeah.
or if they can cleanse it themselves. And if they need to cleanse their home themselves, then I find out if it's issues that they have that we can address through trauma coaching, that they need to release it so that it doesn't happen anymore, or if it's the house that has always been like this. So it's really conversation and see how it goes, and from there see what we're going to do.
Yeah. And is it generally a few sessions? Is it kind of independent with how many sessions you need? Because obviously if it's a bigger case, I would imagine more time, just like any other field.
Right. Well, I always have my free 30 minutes. So I talk to people and then we go from there, figure out what's going to happen. And then if there only needs a way to cleanse their home, then I explain it to them. Right now, I actually work on an online program on how to cleanse your home, including antiques and hand-me-downs, and get rid of gifts and things like that, so that they know what to do in an easy way. And
I'm going to need that thing because I scour Facebook Marketplace for everything. I love Facebook Marketplace.
okay, I will hurry up and get it finished. And yeah, then we go from there. If it turns out that I really have a lot of trauma going on, because when you have let's say when you're married, you have your own story and your partner's story, and they clash. And then you have all the in-laws, you know, with their own stories, and you bring all this together in one home. That's a recipe for disaster, especially when trauma is from both sides. I can tell you, ever since I was able to really heal my trauma, my relationship to my husband has improved so much.
Really?
Yes, it has changed a lot. And I'm so grateful for that. And now I can help others do that too.
Yeah.
And relationships are so important when it comes to the home, because when we bring home the energy, it stays there. And that's what can cause the arguments, the disagreements, the feeling agitated all the time, feeling depressed. It's like, for example, when you have a house that is dusty, if you don't like to dust that often, I mean, who really does? The dust has its own energy. I mean, it's like fabric pieces, it's skin, which is your own energy. It still holds your own energy. It's little bugs, you know, it's all that, and all that has its own energy, and it's the shedded energy from your skin, from your body. That's all there. So, and this energy is like a heavy blanket, and it's pushing you down. And the more dust and clutter you have, the more you feel like you're just slumping on the couch and you don't want to do anything.
You know, it's really funny you mentioned that, because I went and dusted my entire house the other day, and I went and sat down on the couch, and I was like, oh my God, the room feels like taller, it feels bigger, it feels brighter. And I was like, all I did was dust. That's all I did. It's crazy.
Yep. So, you know, then I educate them on this, because these are like, cleaning is a chore. But when you think of it from the energetic point, how much you actually shift the energy of the home by simple cleaning, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was washing my window treatments for the first time in, I'm embarrassed to say, almost 2 years. And I was like, oh my God, this looks so bright, and it feels so open just from washing that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you really have to let things go and clean them to realize the difference.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's so much more than having a clean house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it tapers into the clean mind aspect. And we had moved in, the house wasn't completely done. So we moved in, it was still in the process of getting done. And not only was the house cluttered, but my mind was cluttered because I didn't know where anything was. We had that was our first move in together. So we had both of our energies like in the same house. I've got a son, she has 2 boys. So like the kids came in. So it was just all one day, just a bunch of energy, a bunch of chaos. I'm like, this has to get better. But obviously, like, as the house got better, it got cleaned. We had it spiritually cleaned again. So like things just started to settle down, and like obviously our house got cleaner. I know my mind got cleaner. My like energy just felt better. I would get home from work and I would just sink. So I'm like, there's so much stuff around and it's all in disarray. And like the kids don't know where they can go and can't go. And it was a problem. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there. A cluttered space just leads to bad energy.
Yep.
It does.
It does.
So before you call Sandra, clean your house. So she's got something fresh to work with. It was a subtle hint, but I'll say it to the audience. Got to clean the house before you call Sandra. Automatic.
Well, that's not what I said, but
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
I guess call Sandra. She'll give you the tidbit on what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natasha, do you have any other questions? I know we're coming up on an hour and I don't want to keep you over.
I do not. I have dogs that are all over me right now. So I'm trying to keep them out of the camera view, but it doesn't seem to be working very well.
That's
They
fine.
feel
We're
your
pet
energy.
friendly.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, they are stuck on me like white on rice. Like they cannot get enough.
I thought our pups were gonna have, because obviously the last time I left with Bobby, she was like, there's still a little bit of work in the basement to do. I thought the dogs were going to be like sensing that a little bit and like either avoiding an area or like, I don't know, howling or barking or nothing, which I thought was kind of I don't know, I didn't have a expectation for it. I was just curious. And I haven't seen anything yet, which is,
Well, it depends on the animal. I mean, the animals protect us from spiritual issues. And I think they didn't find it threatening.
which is what, I mean, goes along with what you're saying. Most spirits aren't threatening. They're
No.
just stuck,
They're not.
I guess.
But the sad thing is with animals, which I have heard from quite a few people, is that they had animals and shortly after they had them, like 6 months later, just died of the weirdest reasons. Either
Really?
it was heart failure or it was something else. Even they were little.
Huh.
When this happens like continuously, like more than once, then yeah, cleanse your house because then there's something in there that the animals are protecting you from.
Huh.
Wow.
It is
Brave
sad,
souls.
but unfortunately it happens.
Man. I know they're intuitive, but that's brave, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. That just blew
New
my-
meaning to man's best friend.
No kidding.
Yes, a new meaning to it.
Yeah.
100%. But anyway, how can all of our viewers get a hold of you once we sign off today?
Okay, well, my official website is Rise Above Your Story. Now, I don't have the home cleansing and everything on it, at least not on the front page, because
Yeah.
my main business is trauma healing, but just schedule a call with me and we talk about it.
Yeah. And you said you do a free 30-minute
Yes,
talk. So that's good. So, I mean, no obligation, just reach
no
out.
obligations.
So no reason not to. And we'll obviously leave, is there an email and a phone number that people, or best way to contact you, I guess? Is it
People can
email?
find me on Facebook and on LinkedIn.
Okay, we'll add
and-
those into the show notes then,
Okay,
so people can reach out.
sure.
But otherwise, I mean, fasting stuff, I hope we get some brave souls out there to give you a call. I know I'm a true believer of it. I've done it myself. I think it's important, and especially someone, you seem very calm, very passionate about this. So
Yeah.
I would say they're in good hands when they give you a call.
Well, if they're resonating with me, then yeah, most definitely.
Perfect. All right, well, we are going to sign off because we're coming up to an hour. Fascinating show. I will be in contact with you offline because I want to learn more about that property, just in that reset, that library
Property
you're talking
realignment.
about. Yeah,
Yes.
I want to learn more about that.
course.
But I feel like it's going to be more of a direct conversation with that one. So
Sure.
we'll be in contact after the show, but is there anything else you wanted to share with the viewers? Otherwise, we will just add all that information to the show notes. We'll put this up on our Instagram as well. And then we are on Spotify and
We're on
a few others.
everything for podcasting and on YouTube.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Awesome. Well, thank
Well, one
you.
thing that I would say is I hope that this episode did not scare anybody off.
I hope not
And
either.
when you do your home cleansing, do it with intent. Intention is everything.
Mhm.
Focus on cleansing your place and that it's beautiful and bright and it just feels amazing.
Love it. Great way to end
Yeah.
it.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, guys. It was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.